Well, howdy everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Unfinished Journey. Now, if you're here for the first time, my name's Wally, and welcome. If you've been here before, my name's still Wally, and I'm still going to welcome you. Now, right now, I'm going to share something with you that I think is about as close to the truth as I've written in quite a long time, at least the truth about how I feel about some things going on around me and in this world of ours. The title of this piece is called "That's Enough Not Knowing for One Day." Are you curious? I ask because I'm curious. I have a hunch that, most everyone is at least a bit curious about things out there. Then again, I admit I wonder if I'm being overly generous. Lately, I've begun to wonder how much folks want to know. It seems to me that it's not of much interest to a whole lot of folks out there to know any more than what they need to know to make it through their day. No needing to know about this, that, or something else when staring at a little screen for hours on end can be, so what? So fulfilling, so rewarding. Yeah, so what? Before you go thinking I'm going to tell you I'm above all that, I'll admit I have a YouTube addiction. Everything from 2-hour plus discussions about things from politics to the future of AI, or as the present Secretary of Education calls it, A1. To enjoyable and relaxing times with Catfish Dave as he pulls another catfish out of the water, showing it to the camera and then throwing it back in. I'm curious in part because I know that I don't know. I want to know, though I admit I'm not sure what I'm ever going to do with the knowledge I might get about the state of things in this world, or that the present administration is now insisting that there's nothing to see here, folks, when it comes to the Epstein files. Most anything from UFOs to physics to what happens to an old man when he masturbates will get me to pause, though I admit I hesitate to watch the old guy masturbating stuff for reasons I don't need to discuss here. The thing that catches my curiosity most now is this. Why don't others seem to feel the same way I do about what's going on? From my perspective, there are all sorts of good, caring, and intelligent folks that are just content to stay in their bubble as long as it doesn't leak. It wouldn't surprise me to hear you say that you're not interested in the frustration, disillusionment, and discomfort I'm feeling when I look around at things these days. Well, now I get it, and that's why I say I feel I'm caught between a rock and a hard place when how I'm feeling right now is, how I'm feeling right now. The thing is, I wasn't always curious. I just hoped I could make it through the day. So I get not being curious about the world around you. Wanting to let the world out there stay there, knowing there's not much you're going to do to change any of it. So why bother? Now that's a hell of a good question. Why bother? Like I said, the rock and the hard spot thing. Now Joe Rogan can sit there asking questions, never solving a damn thing, and he gets millions of followers on YouTube, and arguably he can change voters' opinions. I talk about dropping pebbles when, if I'm honest with you and myself, what I'd like to be doing is dropping damn big boulders. In the end, I think my questions are as valid as Joe's, but I'm pretty sure I should be out there fishing with Catfish Dave instead of wondering about why I feel invisible. I sit here by myself, smelling a smell that reminds me I had beans for lunch. The thing is, I know not all that smell is coming from me. Lately there's a stench coming from beyond the walls of my palatial Casa de la Tin Can estate. It's coming from folks that should know better and folks that don't want to know, all alike. I'm expected to follow so-called leaders with selective amnesia, the way toddlers follow bubbles wide-eyed, distracted and completely unaware they're being played. Then by the time the bubble pops, they're already moved on to the next shiny lie, giggling like it's all just a game. That'd be cute if it were harmless, but it's not. It stinks, and not just in theory. It's a full-blown fart cloud of denial drifting down from the highest offices. I don't know about you, but I know when a diaper needs changing. And yes, I've changed more than a few of them. The thing that I can't wrap my head around is why we keep pulling out the baby wipes, as if it's our job to clean up their messes. Hell, some serious diaper rash might get some folks' attention. The Bone Spurs felon gets nominated for a Nobel Prize and complains folks are still talking about the Epstein case. The "let's show them the files" FBI director says, "Nothing to see here, folks." And they're right here on my desk. United States Attorney General has hallucinations when it comes to files and lists and folders that may or may not have been right there on her desk. That's happened in the past several days, and yeah, there's enough. Now, truth be told, I don't follow Joe Rogan much, but not following him doesn't mean I don't know he asks questions. Lots of questions. And right there, he's got a whole lot of possibilities, if you ask me. I read a comment that activism is needed, but questions whether or not it changes hearts and minds. Does activism change hearts and minds? I've spent more than a little time turning that thought in and out, up and down, and think maybe inside out. I'll tell you, the thought doesn't sit well with me. Yes, as is par for the course with me, I can't simply pull out a list of examples for why I'm feeling the way I am about the topic. Perhaps if I think about the subject from the way I see the people becoming more and more tribal while the government becomes more populist, well, I can agree that the thought holds some truth within it. You see, I think everyone is an activist, each in their own way. Though granted, some get a lot more ink and face time. The only proof I have, that activism can change hearts and minds is me. You see, I used to be one of Rush Limbaugh's faithful. I carried the same outrage he sold by the pound. But after a while, well, it wore thin. The hypocrisy began to show in him and in his followers. Eventually, I saw behind that curtain. My little awakening, I suppose, not because someone not shouted me down, but by the slow realization that I'd been repeating things I didn't really believe. So yeah, activism can change things. Well, it can change hearts and minds. Not always in the way we imagine. It might not be in a day, but I know it can because it happened to me. So here I sit in my tin can castle, asking questions that aren't going to move any needles or add to my, well, not going to add to my YouTube subscription list for sure. I keep asking the questions, all the knowing that if I were to ever get the answers, I wouldn't know how to share them. Still, I do keep sniffing the air, and catching a whiff of something reminds me of the days I would spend on my uncle's dairy farm. There was a time when a fanatic happened into the frustrations of many who felt unseen and unheard. Flyover country, they call it. From my perspective, that fanatical activist has led us to what we have today. A nation divided 7 ways from Sunday. In the end, if I were asked, I would say, I'd say the blame for all of this mess lies right at the feet of all of us. No one should be spared carrying a part of the cause for what we have before us today. I do think that each of us, in our way, is and can be an activist. If that's true, then each of us can make a difference in the world around us, and maybe even more importantly inside ourselves. Yes, I'll keep asking because I've been changed. So I know change is possible. I know change may never happen because of anything I have or ever will say. I don't have a $1 trillion microphone. I don't need a security detail when I go to the grocery store. My questions, they may never be heard and almost certainly not answered. Still, I need to believe that someone, maybe you, will ask the questions and maybe, just maybe, answer them at least for yourself. Now, I guess that's enough for now. And I guess that's enough knowing for one day. Thank you all for being with me. If you've enjoyed what I've shared, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. Be good to others. Be better to yourself. drop a pebble filled with unanswered questions. So until next time, make this unending journey unfinished and unforgettable. Happy trails.